in memory of Captain Irving Podolsky, died in 1943. Jerry Pfeiffer, Private Jerry Pfeiffer, killed at age 19 in Italy. Howard Wise, killed in 1944. I forgot the battle. But we were peace activists long before the Second World War. We were peace activists in 1936, fighting against the Civil War. And I want everyone that's a fight for peace. Those who have died before us and those who come after us. The fight must go on.
This is for my brother-in-law, Bob Nannerone, who was sent to Vietnam and was exposed there to cocaine and heroin and Agent Orange. Over the years, in the end, he successfully fought his addictions, and Agent Orange unequivocally contributed to his very early death, leaving a young daughter. For Bob Nannerone.
Presente!
I am Fran Carson. We're all here for Bud.
It's the microphone.
Bud was a Korean veteran, not something he boasted about. And Bud's main fighting was on the streets of New York, where he fought for justice, peace, against fascism. The week he died, he had just done 5 different demonstrations around New York.
Hold up to your mouth.
And he planned to be doing that the rest of his life. For Bud.
Presente, Bud!
This is for Matthew Fenton, who died May 2006 in the war in Iraq, and for Walter Soule, who died from the ravages of having served in the war in Iraq.
I'm going to go back into history a bit, and this is to honor a fighter against racism, white supremacy, slavery, African American, Private Bruce Anderson, United States Army, who won the Medal of Honor fighting with Company K, 142nd New York Infantry on January 15th, 1865. Private Bruce Anderson, presente.
Presente!
Subo Kim. Yeah. Korean Army veterans belong to New Jersey Chapter 21. This is for my 2 uncles and nephew and niece killed at 13 years old by a U.S. Army truck. Presente.
Presente!
Hello, my name is Sonia Rodriguez, and on this day I'm thinking of both my brothers, Zeke Perez and Ezekiel Perez and Ephraim Perez, who served My brother Ephraim went to Vietnam, and both of them, especially my brother Ephraim, came back, but not quite the same. He was here physically, but emotionally he didn't do very well. And so I'd like to both commemorate them. Thank you, both of them. Thank you.
Presente.
I usually stand up for Bill Gilson and Mo Fishman, but this time I'm standing here for somebody else. Her name is Neus Catala. She died last month at the age of 103. She fought against Franco in the Spanish Civil War and led hundreds of children across the Pyrenees in the snow to escape the ravages of Franco, Hitler, Mussolini, and Texaco. She went into the underground in France when she got across the Pyrenees, and she was captured after a year or so. And she ended up in Ravensbrück concentration camp, working on munitions, still struggling against fascism by sabotaging every bullet she made. She survived Ravensbrück, as you know, and came back to Spain, worked in the underground continually against Franco, who was still in power till 1970. And she was furious at the Allies for not liberating Spain from Franco after liberating the rest of Europe. So she continued to work until she was 103 years old. Live like her. Presente! This is for the Palestinian people who continue to struggle against the occupation and the attempted genocide by the United States and the government of Israel. This is for all those who have died before, all the men, women, and children who have been targeted by snipers, whose homes have been destroyed, and who valiantly go on and refuse to give up. And as one Palestinian said, every time she puts a ribbon in her child's hair, she sees that as an act of resistance. This is for all those who have died, and we can only try to fight this from this side.
I'm Alice, and this is Adele from the Raging Grannies. I want to remember my neighbor in Washington Heights named Ryan A. Tejeda, and he was one of the first people killed in the Iraq War on April 11th, 2003, after Bush had declared it a mission accomplished. And his family was told that he died nobly in combat. Later we found out that he had been killed by an explosive device. He was 26 years old, and he joined the Marines at age 18. He went to the recruiting station right across the street, where I've demonstrated many times doing anti-recruitment. He was recruited at age 18, was considered a community hero for 8 years, came back, got other Dominican kids to join, and then he was killed. His father would sit outside with a picture of him. The Army came into our street on 180th Street and came marching up and down. There was a post office named after him, but the grief goes on forever. I learned in researching that tens of thousands of undocumented people are in the Army now, and it's a way of luring them in. He got a posthumous citizenship, and then they promised to make people citizens in his honor, but even that they never did. So that's his story. And Ryan Tejeda Presente.
My grief is not a call for war. My grief is not a call for war. I am a child of parents raised in war, suddenly torn from
from their young lives and crowded in a train car or huddled in a building listening to screams, glass, head shattering down below. No, my grief is not a call for war.